Welcome. So this is the Littleton Sustainability Committee meeting for Thursday, September 4th, 2025. And we'll start with a member roll call, if you would, Margaret.
I have attendees Sarah Rambacher, Chair, Charlotte Dolenz, Co-Chair, Margaret Gibbs, John Hagberg, Don McIver, and Emily Squires. Do we have any guests?
It looks like we have Rob Rounce as a guest, and it looks like Michelle is here, so I'm going to go ahead and promote her to panelist.
Okay.
All right. Hi, Michelle. Okay, so then next on the agenda is minutes to approve. Those were sent out with the agenda. Are there any comments?
They look good to me.
Yeah, same here.
They look
Okay.
good to me.
Is there a motion to approve?
Sure, I'll make the motion.
I'll
Okay.
second it.
And second by Emily. Okay, I'll go around. Charlotte, approve the minutes.
Yes.
Don,
Yes,
Margaret,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Emily.
Yes.
All right. Unanimous passing. Also with the yes from me. Sorry. Okay. Next on the agenda is public input. If there's any public input, you can raise your hand, and otherwise we'll move on to the next. All right. Rob. Oh. You may go ahead.
Okay, so thanks. Sorry, I tried to get you my letter. I hope you've all received it. Sarah, I thank you for distributing it middle of the afternoon to late afternoon. Before I go there, I want to applaud your efforts with regard to your minutes. I find your minutes to be among the best that exist in the town. And in addition to reading them, I listened and watched some of your meetings and then made comparisons to the minutes, and I found them to be dead on with regard to pertinent points, and it allowed me to basically craft the letter that I wrote to you. And unfortunately for many other boards, committees, commissions, I would have been left with virtually nothing to try to catch up with what you folks have spent on the topic that led to my letter with regard to the Shaker Lane project. So want to just say that very directly, and maybe you can give a lesson. Charlotte, I know you're terrific at it on charter as well, but between the two of you, boy, you could teach a lot of folks a lot of things that really could be very valuable to Littleton residents like me that come in rather sometimes late in the process. I was with you maybe a year and a half ago, then dropped out and then find myself, okay, I'm right back into it. So my comments are really contained in the letter. I applaud what I read in your minutes, which is noted in the letter as really trying to engage the community and find ways in order for your committee to make an impact. And that's really what I'm asking you to do. So I don't need to repeat that. I'm welcome to answer questions. I look forward to hearing your discussion and deliberation with regard to voting, on it. Similarly, I attended your first climate action plan, meeting, the original one, and then unfortunately your meeting most recently conflicted with yet another town meeting that I needed to attend, and so I couldn't stay for the whole thing. So I look forward to hearing and catching up about that. But I applaud your efforts with regard to getting involved and connecting with different boards and committees, whether it's hazard mitigation plan. You folks are trying to find ways to get involved and get in sync with other parts of Littleton government. And I think that's very noteworthy and commendable in that regard. I hope you'll proceed to join the school committee and a whole bunch of years of their efforts, much like, you're about to head towards the Climate Action Plan declaration that relies on a whole bunch of other people to get on board with your efforts, and volunteer efforts are important. So thank you for letting me speak.
All right. And I will second that, Margaret. Your minutes are fabulous. And thank you for all your effort in putting those together each month.
Yeah, they're very good.
All right. Then we'll move on to the climate emergency declaration and talking about placing an article on the special town meeting warrant. I'm just going to put you back on mute, Rob. And or actually, here we go. And then I'm going to share the document. Here we go. Sorry, it's going to take me a minute to find the right window. Okay, I guess this one. Okay. Hopefully I got the right one. Resolution on climate action and resilience for the town of Littleton. Is that what you guys are seeing? Okay, thank you. So this is what I drafted, and we had this up at the Climate Action Plan Forum. We took it to Third Thursday and displayed it and handed it out to a few people that were interested. And then it was sent out to the committee for comments. And Michelle, comments from you. You had a couple of grammatical changes that I went ahead and put in, as they didn't, they were good improvements and didn't change anything substantive. And then you recommended removing this one paragraph, which I went ahead and put in as suggesting here. I don't know if you guys can read it.
Yes.
Okay. So if I'm personally fine with removing that to shorten it up a little bit, I was going to ask if anyone else objected to removing that.
No, I think I recall a couple comments saying it's really long. So
Yeah.
I think if there are a couple of things that can be removed just to tighten it up a little bit, then and I feel like the concept in that paragraph is essentially repeated a couple other times anyway. Like 2 paragraphs down, it talks about heavy precipitation, extreme drought, etc. So yeah, that's to say I feel like that's a good change.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was what I was kind of thinking. It seems like it's kind of emphasized throughout. So if there's more opportunity to maybe consolidate things, like definitely open to that too.
Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and click the button that just knocks it out of there for the moment. Close that up. And then, so I guess we had talked last month about showing it, making sure that we weren't hearing a lot of opposition or concern about it. And I really don't think we did. A few people were very supportive of it that I heard. I think there was a post-it from one of the events that said, "What do I need to do?" So I think in that we should make sure that we address that in the supporting. Like, I'd also sent out a sort of a 1-page little fact sheet about it. So I think we should probably address that there. So I see hands up. I'm just going to say, like, so I guess my question is, are we okay with going ahead to do this? And if you had any other edits that you didn't get in before, hopefully minimal. But all right, I see. I don't know who went up first, but I see Emily at the top of the page, so I'll call on you first.
Okay, thank you. Let's see. One of the comments that was given at the third Thursday was it's too long, and I agree. I'm wondering if we could cut out as well, whereas the town of Litchfield has already taken important steps. I don't think, if anything, that will add to people saying, well, why do we have to do anything other than that? Because this is not, so I'm thinking that might be to be pushed out, because I think it should be 1 page or less or shorter. And right now it's a little longer. What do people think?
My sense, Emily, I'm with you that the shorter the better. I feel like what we want is for people to commit to this in concept. In a sense, I will say it doesn't matter what's in it, but like if we can take a little bit out in order to make sure that it really resonates and is sort of simplified, I think if that's what people want, simple and straightforward, then cutting a little bit more.
There's so much. Is this an important other item on the agenda for the meeting? I'm sorry, for the town meeting. The shorter we can make it, and trying to come in and realize that some of the wording, we have to look and see whether it would just turn people off. It doesn't for me, but I think we have to look at from make sure that we're trying to get as many people to, we have to get enough people on board to actually get through, correct? So the section that I talked about, I don't think is going to be a concern there, but it's something that someone could come in and say, okay, hey, then why do we need this?
Okay. Did you have something about that, Don, or another?
Yeah, actually, the paragraph that Emily said we should remove, I think we should keep it there. We should let people know this has been happening, because there will be some people who will be unacquainted with any of it and wondering what's happening. And I agree, the shorter the better, but I think even more important is let people know all the whereases aren't things we're voting on, and those aren't things people are asking opinions on. It's a prologue, and whereas we understand it, a lot of people in town will not be aware of it, and the focus should be on the action plan. It be resolved that blah blah blah. And one of the comments I sent, which I'd like to share, is that even when Acton went through with their emergency resolution, they had a lot of pre-work on it and everything else, and they didn't get a unanimous approval of it. And we're not going to get unanimous approval. There'll be a lot of people. Some people just want to assert themselves and not like it. Some people will be climate deniers. Some people will take issues with all the various aspects, maybe in what I'm referring to as a prologue. So the resolution's the important part. I think it's important that people understand that that's what they're voting on. And since we're approving this by anonymous clicking, some people are just going to be against it. There are some anti-environmental people and some of the positions. So, recognize that's going to happen. And what we need is the vast majority of people to approve it. And it's worth explaining. This is really an affirmation of what we are already doing. And I suggested as a footnote give a link to our videoed climate action plan presentation where the town administrator said he supports it, and where Tom Birmingham, who has a lot of expertise, said, you're more than halfway there. I think that helps people realize we're in the mainstream. And also, at some level, realize if they vote it down, it doesn't really make much difference. This is really an affirmation. I think that needs to be captured because we'll get some people that are absolutely clueless. Some people may have shown up at town meeting for the first time, not be aware of this type of thing. So I think that's my thrust. I sent a list of why some people might object to it, and they will feel good they can do it anonymously and still assert themselves. Anyway, that's my take.
So Don, I guess what I'm hearing you say is a little contradictory as far as like that we should focus on the resolutions.
Well, let people know that's what they're voting on. They're not really voting on our setting the stage and the context. Yeah, there is a characterization, observation, and all the whereas. So yeah, the real important thing is what we vote on. And you say, what can people do while they're voting on this? They're committing. So it gives us guidance.
Right. So I think that to me is an argument to go ahead and shorten it up by removing that paragraph, and that we can make sure that when we're presenting about the article, we can make sure to present those items, but they don't need to be written in.
Yeah, but it builds a case for approving, like we're already en route to here and we've done this, and this isn't just, armchair type stuff. We're already engaged, and we do have some support from the town administrator, even though he's dependent upon the selectmen. I would hope that people would find reasons to support it, and we're asking for endorsements of department heads. I'd hope we would also go to committees as well and build it up and go to the meetings, and if they have issues, answer it and resolve
Don,
the issues there.
Yes, that's why. So the other things I sent out were I can switch over to that real quick. There's an email template here that I was planning that we could send out to committees and boards and ask the TA to distribute to the departments. And then there's a fact sheet that we could also make available to help people to understand what this is.
Yeah, and my comment on that is the shorter version, the better. Don't give them a lot of room to have problems. And also ask to be on their agendas and ask for them to endorse it at their meeting. That will bring out any issues they have.
Yeah.
And that really sort of forces them to decide yay or nay. And that's to do it before the town meeting.
I did actually add that to the template after your comment there. So that is in the email template now, asking us to.
Which is good, because we need to win this before we get to town meeting. We need endorsements one by one. And there may be, I mentioned some of the reasons what some of the questions department heads may have. Is this extra work for them? And is it going to impact their budget? And is this going to affect their autonomy? And I think the real trick is this gives a coordinated focus and guidance. And it does. I like the aspect where you say it doesn't impose anything. It's really, fleshing out what problems there might be there and what concerns there are, and also gives them the benefit of they get listened to. Hopefully that leads to an endorsement one by one, each department and committee.
Okay, Emily, I see your hand up again.
Yeah, I'm just concerned that people these days do not, if it's too long, they're going to glaze over and not pay attention to it. I think one or two whereas is plenty, to come in. We don't have to give everything because we're going to lose the audience. And we have to come in and say, is this something that we want to pass? In which case we have to come in and say, are we going to get any more people behind us by adding all this information? It's all good information. It could be a supplement in a write-up, but their voting on itself should be as short as feasibly possible. And if anything, it should incorporate it and be very clear that your fact sheet is wonderful, and if we can get more of that in, or make sure that goes into the warrant, I think that, or some aspects of that goes into the warrant, it's going to be important. But this is not something that people are going to want to spend a whole lot of time on, not in this meeting when they're going to be voting on the school. I think it needs to be short, sweet. Are you behind it or are you not? And the more that's my input on it.
Well, maybe all the whereases should be categorized as something different, a prologue, a background, or something. But the real action part is it be resolved that blah blah blah.
John?
Yeah. So good discussion. I think what I'm hearing, and Don, I see what you're trying to say with the prologue and lead into it. My sense is between now and town meeting and the amount of push that we're able to put behind this, we're not going to change a lot of minds around whether there is or isn't a climate crisis. And so to the point of brevity, right, if we're just brief and say there's a climate crisis, one or two of the whereases, and therefore this is what we want Littleton to do, the folks who believe there's a climate crisis are going to sign on to it. The ones that don't, we could have 300 whereas in there as detailed as we want, and we're just not going to win those folks over. And so at people in the middle, I think I agree with maybe Emily's point is we'll lose them somewhere in there. It's like, it's too complicated for me. I'm not even going to engage with it. And so I do think simplifying the whereas and then getting right to the be it resolved is, now that I'm hearing the discussion, makes a lot of sense. The items that go into the stats around when, like what like the first two, the 2018 federal government, the United Nations 2018 special report, those all feel like they can go, those are backup material if someone wanted to talk about it, but it feels like we can pull those out and just say, there's a climate crisis. It's going to affect Littleton the same way it affects everyone else. Therefore, this is what we want you to do. That would be the general approach that feels right at the right level of depth for me for town meeting based on other articles that I've seen.
Yeah, and that's fine, but you do have to put in some, handhold some background part, and maybe they're not whereases. Maybe once again it's a prologue. There's the context, and then have the action part. Yeah, I mean, maybe, if you present the whole thing as a resolution where all the whereases, people are going to start nitpicking. Some people will be purists in language. Some people will be climate deniers. So, maybe we remove that part, have it as background, has it as two different things. Here's the background. It could be fewer items there. Yeah, the whereas is transformed to that. And then the action item is the powerful thing that they'll pay attention to. And they will be either for it or against it. Yeah, simplification is good.
And that is what I think, Don, to that point, that is what I think the fact sheet does a good job of, is simplifying the what's in it, the WIFM statement of the background. And so I don't know how we get that fact sheet.
The fact sheet will not be on the handout for town meeting. Typically people discuss sort of the background and then they have the action item. You can't put the fact sheet in there, really. I mean, you do need some of that part where it says whereas blah blah blah, but have that as prologue, have that as context, and then have the action item as what people are voting on, so people don't nitpick. If you get too much stuff, people start nitpicking, have concerns.
Yep. Charlotte?
Yeah, I just had a couple of sort of more operational suggestions. If this means it fits on one page of the warrant handout thing, I think just there's something about having something on just one page versus those ones that go multiple pages that just feels a little more straightforward. And then also, Don, to your point, we can print out flyers, I believe, and sort of the blurb and the fact sheet and have those at the tables so that people can also peruse those at town meeting. That might be a nice compromise to be able to supplement with some additional information.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. There's often handouts. And I will say, I can't guarantee that one of my pages is the same as a page in the printed warrant, and it also may start partway down the page. So it's not necessarily going to be a pretty one page, but we can make it as short as we can work on making it as short as possible. Right now, it's only like just a standard page. It's fairly close to fitting.
Yeah, so could consolidate. So what about the idea of not having a bunch of whereases? Because that all of a sudden is part of the resolution. It gets complicated. It's perhaps
Yep.
too much.
So why don't I make a copy here? So if we talked about pulling out, so this one, let me take these and just let me put them at the top since they would be more like a prologue, just so it feels more like.
Yeah. But it is good to letting people know the town has been doing something. So, those few mentions are good. People will perhaps be happy. Okay, some progress is being made. It's an armchair philosophy.
I definitely think we should say it, Don, and we will say it. I think the question is just, is it here or is it in the supporting materials?
And is it the supporting material that's going to be the handout that people see for the warrant article, or is it going to be a separate fact sheet? I think you need to have some supporting stuff by the resolution that we're declaring it.
Yes, I agree. Emily, I'm sorry, did you have your hand up from before again?
No, I put it up again. My recommendation is you keep the first whereas, and you keep the one that whereas Littleton, like other communities, and that's it.
So these we could move out into supporting, you think? That's
what I'm suggesting. You want something short and sweet, just like John said. The people are behind it and you're not going to convince someone looking at the warrant with all of the data.
I'm going to pull it out and then we can look at it.
To read it.
And there'll be some people in between, and those are the people you're trying to influence. And I agree, something shorter makes sense, but you do want to encourage people to support it. And so you do have to provide some supporting stuff there.
I would also take out the last one. I'm sorry. So only keep the first two, whereas the third one is out too. Is my recommendation.
Okay, let me pull it out and then you guys can look. Okay, so we would consolidate these into a paragraph or something that comes before, and then this would be the actual resolution. Oh, Emily, I don't know if you raised your hand again or not. Still, sorry.
No, this is just what I'm recommending.
Okay.
I have to say, I do like how it jumps straight into, okay, now, therefore, let it be resolved. Like, it is nice. It is punchier. I'm not sure maybe what motivated so many whereases in the other declarations, but it seems pretty to the point.
Can I ask you, Michelle, do you, in your experience with others, do you think that this is good to cut those parts out, or do you have any recommendations?
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think shorter the better. I think you make a good point that like if someone is already whether or not they like believe in climate change or whatever, I don't think the town meeting is going to kind of influence their opinion. They're going to look at it quickly. So I think having like the backup documents with kind of more of maybe of the science is probably a good way to go. And if that can be also like kind of consolidated down a little bit, I think that would I think that would be work well.
Okay. So why don't we aim for this, and I can rework this just into a paragraph to go ahead of it. And we'll want to, so I was hoping Karen might make it tonight, but I'll contact her. I've already put her on distribution, so she knows that this is our working draft, and she knows that we want to try to get it into this town meeting. The deadline is in a week, but then I think there is opportunity to just make sure that the language is compliant with all the things it needs to be compliant with and all that before it actually goes to printing. So I think
I would feel comfortable to authorize you to come up with a finished product if we have to have something in 1 week's time. And you can share with different people, and you can have a task force if you want to do less than a quorum. But yeah, I think it's good that you be empowered to be able to have the finishing touches there, so it does get into the warrant article. And you have a sense of what we're saying. I mean, if you have good judgment, I'd be happy with whoever you decide. But I think maybe you should be authorized to conclude it, especially if you have to submit it in 1 week.
Sarah, I just put my hand up again. Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see it. I can only see a few people at a time. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I would actually go in and take the last two further resolution resolved off. I don't think they add anything to it. In reality, it's coming in. The first two tells you what you're going to do. Okay. The other ones are just, again, information, and something that could hold people up from improving. It's like, okay, what am I committing to when I say these two? So my further recommendation is that you keep now, therefore it be resolved, and be it further resolved, and take the other two off.
I guess I would say about that, there are a couple things that I thought were important in these, specifically saying trees and open spaces, I think is something that would make it feel good to a lot of people. We were hearing a lot about trees, and we always hear a lot about open space. The last one, I personally think it's pretty important to recognize that we can't do this alone, and that we are calling on the state and to work with them.
You already said it in the first.
But that's my
resolved. It says that the member of the town meeting call. Wait, I don't understand that. The members of Littleton town meeting.
Saying that the members of the Littleton town meeting, so those that are voting for it, call on town government and staff.
And support from the state and federal government to commit to a climate mobilization effort. Again, it needs to be short, where people don't look and say, what am I obligating myself to? And when I look at that, I don't even know what it means, this last one. And the one above it is a mechanism. They don't want to get into the details of the mechanism. That's what the climate action plan is for. you're trying to get this resolved through so that you get people prepped for it, not throwing them the answer, because they're going to come in and say, well, there's a whole lot of other things you can do as well. So I think you dilute the whole thing. But I'll lower my hand.
What about anyone else? Charlotte?
Yeah, I certainly applaud efforts to keep things short, but I feel like we've done some good chopping already. Emily, I wonder what you might think about the sort of distributed equitably part as well of that second to last, be it further resolved. I think that again is a point that might just be sort of encouraging in a way, as well as the trees and open spaces. So you could argue, I completely agree, that it doesn't add a lot of substance necessarily, but I do feel like that's a kind of good feel-good paragraph that might just really help to kind of garner a sense of support for this resolution. And thus, if it serves the purpose of having people to vote on it and just commit to it, I'd be keen to keep it, because I think I've also heard over various meetings people feeling like, are these benefits, whatever anybody's talking about, but is it going to be equitable? Are some people going to benefit more than others? And just maybe flagging that this is intended to be equitable, then that's a core principle of the work, then maybe that would be good to call out. I'd be in favor of keeping it. It's, I know that we're trying to
my perspective on it is it's getting into the weeds, and we want a declaration and not a solution. That's what the climate action plan is supposed to do. Once you open that can of worms of starting putting parts and putting feel good words in, I think it just dilutes the whole effort, and calls into question what are we going to do? And the first one, is the first resolve is that we declare emergency, and that is dedicated effort to meet this challenge, and so on. So any case, that's just my 2 cents worth.
Yeah, I have a concern about the word equitable. That is a loaded term you do not want. Fairly is fine. It's not really defined. It has a better sense. I mean, I've dealt with various people that are on boards and even some of the people at Rotary, and sometimes you sit down with them, there are all these conspiracy theories. Equitable sounds like, we're going to smooth everything out, and there are people that will get more than someone else. Don't use the word equitable, use simple language, use fairly. And you don't have to define it. It just is a good feel that, okay, we're not going to penalize someone, but also you don't open up the thing about entitlements and all that, because people say, it's a woke thing. Make it simple.
John?
Yeah, I don't feel as strongly about the word equitable. I don't have the same experience, and I think it kind of hit for me on what I was hearing from folks. Equitable, fair. I can go, I guess, either way with that. I do think that third paragraph makes sense. I tend to agree with Emily. The fourth one gets back into the government again, and so if we need to add a couple of words to the appropriate support from state and federal, up in the second bullet, we could cut one more bullet out, because I think it addresses the same general concept that we can't do it alone. I do like that third bullet. It talks a little bit of the how. It makes it, Emily, I agree, right, that we want to just get the commitment. There is a little bit of making people feel and see themselves in it, and I think that paragraph did it for me. And I believe had some comments on it when we're sitting at the climate forum. So I'd be in favor of removing paragraph 4. And then
meaning this one.
Sorry, the fourth, be it resolved. And then with appropriate support, like up in that second, be it resolved, town government staff with appropriate support Is it like leadership and financial support from the state and federal governments? Again, get that financial piece that we need them to back us to be able to achieve the outcomes as a municipality. Then you kind of get that point back in there again that, you know, we're not asking the taxpayers of Littleton to bear this. We're asking Littleton, and we're asking the state, and we're asking the federal government to help us in support in this effort.
Yeah, you think of how is this going to be used? In part, when town departments do stuff, something seems to not fit, someone can point to this. But the way it probably get used more than anything else is when you're applying for competitive grants, especially with the state, you have to point to what you've done towards it and what commitments you're making. And this is ammunition for that. I've gotten grants for things, and in fact, even in things like the open space plan, it's written so they're loaded terms. So when you want finances and stuff, you can say, we're already doing this, and you have something that's approved by the town, and yeah, it's a foundation. So yeah, it's especially important for getting grants.
Michelle?
Yeah, I was just gonna kind of similar to John's point as well. Like if we could just kind of smush I guess it's 1, 2, 3, the fourth, and then the last paragraph, kind of combine that.
Yeah.
I think that would be good for like consolidation. As far as, I mean, I have run into kind of the equity kind of language a little bit. You know, just the way things are. You know, like originally in kind of the Climate Action Plan Forum, I did have a section on kind of equity, and talking with my colleagues, we kind of decided to take that out just because it is, I don't find it controversial, but I know like kind of talking with the public, you kind of never really know with that. So, I mean, yeah, I hate to say it, but it is sometimes a little bit, like Don said, a little bit of a loaded term.
Yeah, to us it isn't, but to other people who we're going to need on board, it is often.
But yeah,
Okay.
I think fairly is a good kind of maybe replacement for that.
Okay, yeah, so I've suggested that change here, and then I pulled up the appropriate legislative, regulatory, technical, and financial support, pulled that up here to say that from the state and federal governments, and then perhaps I don't know if there's anything else in here that's not you know, anything else important from there that you want to incorporate into the other paragraph. Emily?
Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry. In terms of the other thing that I would pull up, I wouldn't, but I'm still really hung up on this statement that the residents and town meeting of the town of Littleton. Does the town meeting resolve? It's sort of the residents. The town meeting is where the residents communicate. So and the other one that, you know, the one that says that the members of Littleton town meeting calls. Well, I'm not a member of the Littleton town meeting. I just don't even know what that means.
The town meeting is a legislative body for the town, and they're making the decision.
Yeah, but I'm not.
Emily, are you saying we could just simplify to say that the residents of the town of Littleton hereby declare?
Exactly. On both resolutions.
That's a question that I can ask Karen and town council to make sure that we have the right wording there.
That would be great.
Okay.
That would be great.
Let me just write that down.
Okay, the other wording that you have to go through, when I read that the members, okay, let's say that the residents call on town government and staff and all Littleton civic group businesses and residents with appropriate legislative, regulatory, technical, and financial support from the state to commit to okay, it gets very confusing.
It does. That's why it was 2 paragraphs.
But, well, with appropriate, I mean, even before when it says with appropriate support from the state, and you haven't told you. It's a wordsmithing thing. Okay. I don't know if it makes sense as a sentence. But this is something that maybe we can take offline.
Okay.
Just put, but I can send in proposed verbiage, but the lawyers would also be able to tell you that as well.
Yes, it will need to be vetted.
Yes.
Charlotte.
Oh, sorry, I was just about to lower my hand, actually. I think that was going to be my comment, that some of this from the other declarations, it sounds like legalese because I guess someone decided it have to sound legalese. So I wonder if there are some elements of this that are just inherently not in simple language. I mean, whereas, so if town council just gives us advice on that, I assume someone somewhere decided that this is how these declarations and resolutions need to be written to a certain extent, versus just saying, hey, we all commit to a climate declaration. But I feel like, yeah, we could probably go around in circles on that, but I'm sure town council or select board would be able to point us in the right direction.
Okay. I just want to scroll back up here for a second for myself to make sure there was nothing that I really wanted to make sure was in the declaration itself. Yeah, I guess the only thing I would say is these 2 paragraphs. So this one about it being a threat multiplier. I mean, I guess it doesn't have to be in there, but I do think it's important, and I liked that it spelled out a number of people that someone might identify with as themselves. I guess that was my reasoning on that. And then the last one is just indicating that we're not going rogue here and making this up on our own. This is something that a lot of communities are doing, but I'm okay with putting that in the prologue. I guess I still kind of like this one, but I can be talked out of it if you guys really want to keep it short.
Sarah, I like it in the prologue, something along that same lines, because then no one's voting on it, but it's there. It's just like, to me, it's similar to the acknowledgement that that Don was saying around, hey, we've made some progress, right? So the folks who have felt like they've been making progress and have been making progress and contributing to this see the acknowledgement of that. Same thing, that sentence feels like it acknowledges, oh wait, I should pay attention here. That's someone that that's a group that I care about, rather than it becoming an issue that there's a group that's missed, or that, getting back to the equitable debate, it just may add in to the discussion. Would be the only.
Okay.
I totally agree with the intent of what is there. But
that's fair. I'm fine with that.
One view.
Okay, then if we're at that point, I think what we probably need is a motion to take this, I guess, I'm not exactly sure the mechanism. So to approve going forward with this, going to the select board and asking them to put this on the warrant for the fall special town meeting.
Sarah, I think you meant to remove the last one.
Oh, yes, I did. Yes, I did.
So
I'm just gonna.
And also lose the "and" at the end
Yes.
of the now last paragraph.
Thank you, Margaret, for keeping our I's dotted and our T's crossed.
And then you need
Oops.
whoops.
Yeah, I'll make sure that it's all the punctuation is correct and everything once I get rid of it. But I wanted to do it as suggesting so that we could see the changes.
So we have this draft, but you also mentioned there's a tight time frame. And when it goes to the select board, it always goes to town council and they always
Yes.
have comments. So why don't we delegate you to finalize this in whatever fashion you see appropriate, because there'll be some suggestions for changes, and bring it forth to the select board. I mean, this has to be done in a tight time frame. So someone has to do it, and I think someone has to be authorized to modify it as need be.
I'm fine with that. I mean, you guys can vote to pull it if I do something that you don't like.
And you can consult with people, you know. I mean,
Yes. Well,
but someone has
yes.
to be authorized to do something.
Yes. So would you like to make the motion?
Sure, I make the motion that this draft, as developed, be entrusted to you to bring before the select board for inclusion in the warrant article, and you're also authorized to modify it as need be.
I'll second that.
Okay.
I would like to have somebody say that more slowly so that I can type it all. This draft, as developed, will be entrusted to Sarah to bring before the select board for, what was the rest of it?
For inclusion in the warrant article for fall town meeting 2025.
I'm still typing article.
Yeah, for fall
In the
town meeting to 2025. Additionally, Sarah is entrusted to modify it as need be.
Instead of my name, maybe just put the chair.
Yeah, sure. So whatever Margaret types is what I move on.
We'll have her read it back.
Okay. This draft, as developed, will be entrusted, and I'm going to say this draft of the resolution on climate change.
Sure.
Or resolution on climate action and resolution.
Well, actually, it's a resolution for declaration of emergency for climate action.
That's not what it says right there in front of me. So
But someplace it's a emergency declaration, right?
We've been calling it the Climate Emergency Declaration.
Sure. Exactly what I said.
climate emergency declaration. This draft of the climate emergency declaration, as developed, will be entrusted to the Sustainability Committee Chair to bring before the Select Board for consideration. No, for inclusion. I didn't delete that part yet. For inclusion in the warrant article for Fall Town Meeting 2025, period. Additionally, the chair of the Sustainability Committee is entrusted to modify it as needed.
Or is authorized.
Authorized by
Whatever.
who?
I think as needed is.
I think as needed. Otherwise, you have to have us authorize it. Okay.
And Charlotte, you seconded? Is that still?
Yep.
Oh,
okay.
I'm sorry. Let's see. it says, let it be resolved that the residents of Littleton hereby declare that a climate action.
Can I just call a point of order here? We're in the middle of something that has been declared and seconded.
Okay, then I don't vote for it. I get.
We can have a short discussion to
Okay.
what's been moved. Emily, what did you have?
We have been calling it a climate action declaration, but at no point does it say it's a climate emergency declaration. So the title should probably be that, it declares that a climate emergency presents a serious threat. It doesn't say that we are in a climate emergency. So the wording is bothering me. Okay, so where do we resolve that we are calling a
Okay,
climate
Emily,
emergency?
how about if we put in currently right here? It currently presents a serious threat to our town.
Okay. Okay, can we say climate emergency declaration as the title?
Yeah, I think that's, yeah, this title is just what, yeah. I assume that the article will have a better title. We'll work out the title. That was just.
Yeah, can we just say climate action declaration? Because we've been calling it that, but it's nowhere does it say that.
That's what we were discussing when I wrote down the motion, Emily, because I wanted to make sure that we knew what it was going to be called. But
Okay.
I'm sure that we are entrusting our chair to modify this as needed, including the title.
Yeah.
Why can't we just change it right now? Because the resolution on climate action and resiliency for the. Okay. Fine.
Okay. I'll check to see what the others are called, but I think that is sort of like the wording, and then it's just called a climate emergency declaration. But I will check on that. All right. There's a motion and a second. I'm going to unshare so I can see you people. Sorry. You all go into a tiny box. Okay. All right. So those in favor of the motion, Dawn?
Yes.
Margaret?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Charlotte? I think you were muted, or
Yeah.
thank you. Emily?
Yes, with the modification you added. Thank you.
Okay. And yes for me too.
Well, that's progress.
Thank you.
Hard-won progress, but progress.
Okay. All right. Okay, let's move to let Michelle talk about the Climate Action Plan Forum and what our next steps are for. I think we had planned another forum, and there's also the survey.
Yeah, so the next step, well, I guess it's kind of in progress, is the survey. I just sent out a kind of new updated flyer that can maybe be distributed out to, I assume probably we can start with the kind of same places as where the public forum, that kind of outreach. And then any other, I guess maybe like events too. I know some towns have like fall events. So anything like that, we could kind of promote the flyer and try to get people to take that and get the public input. So yeah, I sent out the updated flyer. It's got like a new graphic to Charlotte and Sarah. So definitely welcome to any comments and edits on that. So that is ongoing. In the scope of work, there is I guess you could call it a milestone that's related to the climate emergency declaration, kind of select board engagement. So I wanted to bring that to you guys. If there's like a date we should kind of do that, or like what that might look like. If it's kind of like a educational thing, or just sort of like kind of letting them know, like, here's what the climate action plan and then climate emergency declaration kind of entails, like more of a educational type forum. If you've kind of done that before, or like what the timing of it, I guess.
I guess I'm not quite clear on what you're talking about, Michelle. Is it, so you're talking about a public forum, or are you talking about like going to the TA or the select board?
Select board. So not a public forum. So there is a public forum, but that's kind of later in the winter. A second public forum. Yeah.
Okay. So we could get on the select board agenda and present the current progress.
Mm-hmm.
Is what.
Yeah. Just to kind of get that, we are making progress and here's where we're at, that sort of thing. I think it might also help just with the climate emergency declaration as well. Just again, more engagement and yeah.
Yeah. So I think that I will talk to Karen, and when we make sure that we have, that we're all set on this, we'll have her put us on the agenda so that we can talk about it and talk about where we are. I would guess, let me just look at the calendar. So I think they have a meeting on the 8th, but I would guess that maybe we could try for the 22nd.
The 22nd. Okay. And that's September, I assume.
Yeah. I mean, is that good? Do you want to wait? Or I was thinking probably earlier is better.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Next week I have a kind of similar engagement event in Townsend, so I'm kind of focused on that a little. But after that, I should have some more bandwidth to kind of focus on an engagement opportunity like that.
All right, I'll try to get on that meeting. And if not, then it would be, let's see, probably October 6th would be their next meeting.
Okay.
But I'll try to get on the 22nd.
Yeah, I think either dates will work with me. I will say next Friday I'm going to be out, so but I can kind of help with any of the kind of drafting and things like that as well before then.
Okay. As far as the survey goes, do we have a deadline for when we want to call that done?
Yeah, so right now I have it set to October 31st. I think maybe by like end of September we can kind of see if we need to extend that out a little more and continue the engagement. But yeah, that's the date. I mean, it can be flexible, like if we want to extend that out.
Okay. Are you seeing responses?
So last I checked, so I've sent it to you guys, and then I sent it to the people who attended the forum, and I think I got one response so far from someone from the forum. So I think we got to kind of work on that.
Yeah, okay.
the engagement. Yeah.
Yeah, we haven't really pushed it. We were busy with other things. But
Yeah, no worries.
I
But
think
I think
now's the
once,
time to.
yeah, like once we start kind of, like I think the Facebook post for like the public forum, I think that got a lot of engagement. So hopefully we'll see some more once we kind of get that out.
Okay. All right. Is there anything else there? Oh, Charlotte.
Oh, hey, yeah, I was just going to say for the benefit of the rest of the committee, yeah, I'll post on the Facebook groups, as I shared with you, Michelle, on the Sustainability Committee one, print off a few of those flyers so we can post them, like you said. So I'm happy to take that on. I was wondering about the newsletter, if we want to get into the newsletter,
Yes.
that could
yeah.
be helpful. And then also the podcast might be good to just get on the podcast agenda for you to be interviewed by Karen and to talk about a climate action plan and a climate action declaration. We maybe mix the two topics, but if you wanted to do that without a member of the sustainability committee, seems like it's getting a decent audience. And then I did hear, that it makes sense that a lot of people watch the select board meetings, they watch the recordings. So if we want to sort of advertise anything, that would be the time to do it. So we can also drop in a plug for the survey at that meeting on the 22nd. And I don't know if LCTV has I assume they have the ability to do that, but they could even drop the QR code into the recording, just like a little insert. That might be a nice way to make sure people have ready access to the survey as well.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
And yeah, I imagine like, because I know, the town administrator, like you said, is on board with the climate action plan. It's kind of like another opportunity just to like get it out there and provide some education. Like it doesn't have to be super kind of technical or in depth for the select board. Yeah.
I will make a slide also to send to LCTV to put on the community bulletin board.
Okay, great. Thank you. Oh, and I so I did a little bit of emailing for the churches. Some of them did respond, but it was kind of like, oh, I don't work here anymore. So I can try to maybe like push that a little more, like see if I get more of a response. But yeah. But yeah. So that I can kind of look into that a little more if we want to try to get like the flyer posted on a bulletin or something.
I could
we can
see,
help.
Yeah, we can find updated contacts.
Okay, cool.
Don, do you want to take that to find updated contacts?
Well, sure. I mean, let me know who you're having problems contacting. I'll find the right contact.
Oh, and on the podcast, I think Karen talked about that when she was at the meeting. So I will bring that up again and tell her that we do want to try to make that happen if possible. Okay. All right. We good on climate action plan? Okay.
Yeah, the only thing I just wanted to add, kind of looking ahead, I know things come up pretty quick, is we have like the focus groups also set for, I think, October to like January. So I'm gonna start kind of compiling a list of potential people we might want to talk to, and groups of people as well. So I can follow up on that kind of later in the month as well.
Okay. Yeah, if you want to let me know what you're thinking, if you have questions, or
Okay,
I can help you with that.
great. Thank you.
All right, then with that, I think the next agenda item is discussion on supporting the Shaker Lane school construction project. And I'll share again, I do have the language that Charlotte's proposing.
Actually, Sarah, I was going to just share one quick document ahead of time to give some context, if that's okay.
Sure, go ahead.
Just, is that all right? I think
yeah,
some
do you
of
have
the
permission to share?
discussion. Looks like I do. Let's see.
Okay.
Can everybody see that?
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to share this before we get into a discussion on the language of the endorsement, because I think some of the comments pertained to sort of what is ultimately the cost of sustainability, cost benefits, cost of these different systems. And I just wanted to make sure that the committee was aware of the updated costs and cost analysis of the school plans, because that is kind of hot off the press information. So, because they just came through with the MSBA approval for the grant. So the way that these numbers break down, and you can kind of get away from the vote language necessarily, but just in terms of side by side, what they're looking at as costs to the town of Littleton for building a new school, which is this information here on the left. And then if we were to, if the town was to vote no, and then we were to continue with the current school. So we have the guaranteed project cost, which is what has been approved by the project. And then the guaranteed MSBA grant. So that's the $38.2 million, which is, I think, about 8 million more than was anticipated, bringing the net project cost down to 59.9 million. And all of these numbers do include all of those all-electric geothermal systems that we had talked about on the previous meeting. So that is baked into these costs as we discussed last time, which leaves the town of Littleton with a $50.7 million net bond amount, because the net project cost is reduced by 9.2 million by the town from stabilization fund, etc. So that is the cost that we're looking at for the new building, which would of course incorporate all of the sustainability features that we've discussed on previous meetings, so the LEED Silver, energy efficient systems, etc. Then on the right, you have the cost of voting no, so essentially would maintain the existing school, and the estimated cost of code upgrades is estimated at 44 million. And I mentioned that alongside the document I shared, which is the triggering report. That report details what would trigger a code update and what would then be included in those code updates for the school. And the parts that I found were interesting to read was essentially replacement. So if a gas boiler breaks, a gas boiler will be replaced with a gas boiler. So we would be looking at funding as a town, essentially systems that do not have those same sustainability features, but would be designed to just keep the school going. And that's the triggering report is where that $44 million estimate comes from. And then you have on top of that, the estimated cost of the modular classrooms. Again, I wanted to mention that because this is, I think, an updated number, but as a sustainability committee, I think that's an interesting consideration for us, that they would need to establish those modular classrooms, additional building materials, etc., that essentially would be temporary. So if you add up those costs, then you get the net project cost of maintaining the current school building. The net bond amount would still be reduced by some of the stabilization fund, I believe, to 51 million. And because a bond would only be issued for 10 years as opposed to 20 years, you have updated updated tax implications there as well. So again, just coming back to our interests as a sustainability committee and the kind of cost of sustainability and whether it is cost effective, you're looking at the town of Littleton paying $50.7 million for the new school with all of the sustainability features, or $51 million to maintain the old school with modular classrooms during upgrades. And of course, then subsequently at some point still needing to build a new school. So I'll stop there and we can certainly have any questions about that. But otherwise, I just wanted to present that information because the cost piece had come up a couple of times in some of the comments, but then we can turn to the language. But maybe before I stop sharing, is there any questions about that triggering report or these costs here? No? All right. So in that case, we can move to the language. Here we go. And I did include one of the suggestions that was shared over email. But yeah, so I'll just move this down for now. But we had two options on the table. The way I see it, option one is a little lighter, a little weaker, honestly, I think, in terms of our endorsement. The Littleton Sustainability Committee supports the proposed Shaker Lane building project's commitment to sustainable design, including its planned LEED Silver certification, all electric and solar ready systems, geothermal heating and cooling, and the use of healthy materials. Option two takes it a little bit further to say that the Littleton Sustainability Committee fully supports Littleton's plan to build a new Shaker Lane school, and then it essentially repeats the language as above. The proposed project incorporates sustainable design features that align with Littleton's climate and energy goals, including LEED Silver certification, all electric and solar ready systems, geothermal heating and cooling, and the use of healthy building materials. Then there was a suggestion, and we could determine whether we want to include this in an endorsement or a supplementary kind of notes in our minutes, for instance. But just it was noted, I think, Don, you had sent this suggestion, so feel free to chime in. But the upgrading and retrofitting of the current Shaker Lane school structure does not appear cost effective and provides a very limited opportunities to include energy efficient and sustainable features for cost saving and environmental benefit. So essentially stating the counterfactual to building a school. Sarah, I don't know if you want to take a round of comments. I can sort of live edit here, but I think that the intention is that we hopefully agree on some language and vote today. But I will defer to you on how you want to do that.
I guess let's start with Charlotte. Do you prefer to start with either of the options? Like it sounds like you'd like to proceed with option two if possible. So let's
so maybe it's a good point. Maybe we can take a pulse check on option two first.
It sounds reasonable to me, and yeah, it's good facts to back it. The supplementary text I sent was trying to just bridge from what our core mission goals and values are to why we're endorsing building a school project, a new school project. And originally we were questioning whether we're going outside the scope of what we're doing or whether that be perceived by others we're going outside, then sort of question what our mission is. So that supplementary stuff could be background, but it also gives a rationale for why we're endorsing building a new school. And it's nice that we have the financial facts to back us up in what we would like to do.
Emily?
I support option one, and I don't, and because of how it's worded, I don't think it has to have the supplemental. So my vote is for option one. I would have to be convinced to go for option two.
Emily, what reservations do you have about option two? Maybe we can chat a little bit about that and see where we can find some common ground. Oh, if you're talking, Emily, you're on mute.
Sorry about that. I think option one addresses very nicely. I like the wording completely. I don't have any modifications. That we support the commitment to sustainable design. And option two, I don't really know what the Littleton Sustainability Committee fully supports Littleton's plan to build a new Shaker Lane school. I mean, what we are here to recommend sustainability, not to build a school. So that's why I like option one. Was coming in and saying, based off of what our charter is, let alone what the five of us or however many we have are going to vote. It's yeah, that's why I'm concerned about option two. I don't really know if anyone cares what what my thoughts are on that, except as it relates to sustainability.
Not necessarily suggesting this for the endorsement just because it ends up getting a bit wordy, but if one were to essentially frame it this way, Emily, and it's more of a given that, so if one were to say, for instance, that the Littleton Sustainability Committee fully supports Littleton's plan to build a new Shaker Lane school, given that the upgrading and retrofitting of the current structure does not appear cost effective, provides very limited opportunities to include energy efficient sustainable features, blah, blah, blah. So that we're essentially framing it as, given that we have a choice between two paths, we either build a new school with these sustainability features, or we get forced into code upgrades and sort of essentially grandfather in non-sustainable features that we would be, as a sustainability committee, not so much just randomly supporting a new school, but saying of those two options, we feel like one is more aligned with our mission than the other. Because
so the answer is yes. Yeah. I would support the option two if it included such that it's addressing this is why. So adding that additional addresses that. So yes, I could support option two if it gives that. Oh, yep.
Understood. Yeah, and it's a great point. I think a very good point that we are in support because the alternative is not as sustainable and it does not incorporate as many sustainability aspects. So thanks, Don, for that language. I think that really adds a lot to this. Yeah.
John?
And I think if you wanted to shorten it even further, you could strike the current SLS structure does not appear cost effective, right? And just go into the provides very limited opportunities. That keeps us well within our wheelhouse. Like as a voter, I care about that. As a sustainability committee, I think I really like this ad to talk about why this option versus the other option, and just stay out of the financing and leave the finance department to tell us what's the right bond and or how the town thinks about bondage, etc.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. Stay within our wheelhouse. Yeah. provides very limited opportunities to include energy efficient and sustainable features for cost savings and environmental benefit. Any further questions, suggestions?
Did you want to have that cost savings in there? Is that something that John was trying to take out?
I took out the first bit, but you're right. It would make then sense to take out this. I mean, I agree with what you said, Sean. It's like,
okay,
we care. Maybe we can say we do care about that, but it's sort of outside the remit of the sustainable. I mean, well, yeah. I think keep it simple.
I mean, I think it's important if we're looking to spend a lot of money, like we wouldn't want to, but like we said, cost benefit in the climate action, that we have to take costs and benefits into consideration. If you guys all thought it made sense to leave in there, we could leave it, but just from a brevity standpoint, I think what's here gets to the point.
Yeah. And like you said, we're not actually, it's actually costing less. Crazy, but it's costing less. Any further additions? If anybody wants to make a motion to endorse as modified.
I move that I'm trying to think. We propose. Is this proposal? Okay. I move that we endorse.
Margaret, I think you can just use that text as the motion, possibly.
Right. I move that we endorse the Littleton Sustainability Committee fully supports Littleton's plan on etc. with option 2, that one. Do you want me to say the whole thing?
No, I'm sorry. I just see that Karen raised her hand, so I'm gonna give her the chance to talk before we finish the motion.
Okay.
Hi, Karen. I'm sorry, I didn't see that you were here.
No, I just jumped in. It's
okay.
It's back to school night, so I'm spinning a lot of plates tonight. But thanks for letting me jump in. My only question was regarding option 2. Thank you so much, everybody, for considering this, and I appreciate it more than I really can say. I was wondering if the committee had considered whether this could be this constitutes an endorsement to the extent that we could say that the Sustainability Committee supports the article that will be on the warrant. And I just want to make sure that I have clarity on that so that we don't misspeak on your behalf. And if that's something you all want to discuss later, that's fine. But I just wanted to throw it out there as something that to consider.
I think we could. I mean, certainly that makes it very clear, but we should also include the option 2 language.
Oh yeah, 100%. 100%.
I guess I would say that I haven't seen the article, so I wouldn't feel comfortable at this point saying that I support the article, but I think that at our next meeting, when those articles are out, then we could officially support the article. Does that make sense?
It does, yeah. And what I can do too is circulate the language. It's finalized at this point. So what I internally, and so what I can do is circulate it to everyone, just so you can also read it and have some time to consider it.
And when would we have to respond back? Once again, I'm wondering if it makes sense to delegate to the chair.
I think we have time. I think, when is your next meeting? Have you all set that yet?
It'll be the first Thursday of October.
October 2.
Sorry, second.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I will be coming back from Yosemite, so I won't be able to be at the meeting. I'll be somewhere in the Midwest.
That might be cutting it close. I think we are finalizing everything prior to that so that it can get to the printers. So, but I don't mean to be throwing a wrench into the work last minute. So, thanks for all you're doing. And, Sarah, I can, coordinate with you directly on any other things that you guys can consider if there's time, if time allows.
So once again, maybe we delegate this to the chair. We agree on the language for option 2. Sounds like we're likely to endorse whoever is the warrant article. But I'd be happy to delegate to the chair to make that final decision.
Is it that you're just wanting to have printed in the warrant that we support it?
Correct. Generally we, there's the select board supports this article, et cetera, et cetera.
I mean, I feel like it's pretty frequent that you just sort of say that these committees support it, that it didn't necessarily get printed in the book.
Well, it'd be nice to be printed in the book. I mean, people will read it and think about it, and I think we will help influence some people.
That's exactly the hope, is that we can list everybody, all the official committees that have supported the article. But again, it's late for you all. I don't want to be throwing a wrench in the works. I was just looking for clarification as to whether this extended to that or not. So.
And where will we be using our language in option 2? In our meeting minutes, I assume, is one place. Is it elsewhere we'd be using it? Once again, I think delegating the committee chair to make the decision whether we endorse the warrant article in the printed warrant brochure would be fine. And if the chair has any issues with it, it can be brought up. We could have an emergency meeting.
I think rather than saying that you're going to delegate it to the chair, I'd rather have a 10-minute meeting to.
Yeah. Okay. Do that then. I mean, that's fine. A quick vote. If there's issues, then we don't get listed. That seems like a rather pragmatic approach.
John?
Yeah, or just pull our next October meeting forward to September 25th if we can look at calendars and do it then. And just that, if that buys us the time, then again, I do think just a quick something to do the endorsement. If everything on the article reflects all the documents that Charlotte's been sharing with us, which we have no reason to believe wouldn't be, then I think it's a very low bar to say endorse the article. But I agree with you, Sarah. I don't want to say I've endorsed an article that I haven't seen. I don't feel comfortable with that, and I don't. So
it's a good principle to read it first.
Yeah. And just Karen, it'd be great if you could share it. I just wanted to flag it is in that very long recording of the joint select board, finance committee, school board, school building committee meeting that aired the other night that I circulated. If you made it that far, then congrats. But it was shared in that presentation. Yeah, but it is tiny, so it's actually hard to see. Yeah, if you could share it, Karen,
I'll share something that's a little more reader friendly.
Thank you.
Sure, thank you.
So why don't we vote on option 2 tonight? That can go in our minutes. We can send it along to the select board or the school committee, whatever is appropriate. If that would be helpful. And then we can either have a short meeting once the article is available, or we could pull our October meeting a little bit earlier.
Okay, and Margaret made the motion.
I move.
She's in the process. Go ahead, Margaret.
I'm reading it right now. I move that the Littleton Sustainability Committee fully supports Littleton's plan to build a new Shaker Lane school, given that the upgrading and retrofitting of the current SLS structure, Shaker Lane school structure, provides very limited opportunities to include energy efficient and sustainable features for environmental benefit. The proposed project incorporates sustainable design features that align with Littleton's climate and energy goals, including LEED Silver certification, all electric and solar ready systems, geothermal heating and cooling, and the use of healthy building materials.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
I'll second it. Oh, Don, you beat me to the punch.
Well, you can second it. It's fine with me. Whoever Margaret writes.
I wrote down Don seconded. He said it first.
All right. So, so on that motion, how do you vote? John?
Yes.
Dawn?
Yes.
Margaret?
Yes.
Charlotte?
Yes.
Emily?
Yes.
And yes, for me too as well.
More progress.
Okay. Last item is if there were any member updates or new business. I have one thing I just wanted to mention. There was an email from Mass Fleet Advisor for an in-person event on Tuesday, September 10th in the evening at the Revolution Hall in Lexington. It's an informative event about Mass Fleet Advisor where you can connect with other groups doing the program, updates on the incentives and tools and support, hear success stories, and ask questions directly to the program staff and state experts. And you can sign up for a 10-minute personal consultation with, it's Jennifer Kritzler who sent out the email. I'm not sure of her title. I wanted to share that to see if anyone was interested in going. I also was going to make sure that Diane Dickerson had heard about this because she's been involved a lot. Gosh, I looked away and now there's 3 hands up. Is it about this or you have other things? Okay. All right. So I'm just putting that out there. If anyone wants more information, let me know. John.
Cool. I got an email from the folks at Mass Energize about a Youth Climate Solutions Challenge. I don't know who else was on it from our group. I think I'm on it as like an administrator of the page. They were looking to get in touch with the local public high school contact to be able to run a Youth Climate Solutions Challenge from September of this year to May of 2026. So absent anyone else wanting to take that and run with it, I will get out to Ms. Barry at the school and see if we can create that connection. But I want to, and then it does say one of the key requirements for the challenge is that student teams must work with a local community organization throughout their campaign development implementation. And it's an excellent opportunity for your organization to build closer relationship with local public high school students. So I think it kind of mixes in. We probably can get the climate action plan layered in there. And so if we can get some interest, Michelle, maybe I'll reach out to you and we can figure out how that all comes together.
I was going to say that might be a good start for like a focus group or something like that with high schoolers or any environmental groups. So thank you.
All right.
And there's a group in the high school that does do environmental things. They're the people that proposed the ban on plastic bags. And we came to the defense when they were not allowed to testify at town meeting and other issues. So yeah, they already have.
Yep, we'll make that connection.
Sorry.
Thanks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can people give me the language on these things that they're bringing out now?
I'll forward you the email.
Thank
Margaret.
you.
Yep.
It's a little
Of course.
fast for me. Thanks.
Done.
Sure. I've been meaning to mention this last couple of meetings. Two people, Aaron Jade, who is director of stewardship for the Conservation Trust, but also does a lot of work with dealing with natural plants and moving invasives, and has been the person working at the library area and a couple other areas, Bumblebee Park and Mill Hill, has been sponsored by Sudbury Valley trustees and some of their groups. I talked to her, and she said she's now giving talks, and that's what she wants to do. She also does have a nursery of native grown plants and does some consulting. Even though she's been backed at various presentations, sometimes by a guest presenter of the library and sometimes with Sudbury Valley trustees, we also, as a government committee, could back her. I know that when I was in the Conservation Trust, sometimes, even though we were a nonprofit, it was hard not being a town committee. But we've talked in the beginning of this committee that we would also support good open space and natural plants and so on. So anyway, I mentioned that. I see also Judith Taylor giving presentations on such, and she's been doing this for a while. So I just wanted to make you aware of those people, and it may be a good thing to sponsor or to host them giving presentations for the town. Works with our mission and some of our goals, and it's good having people in the community do that for us. That's it.
Okay. Charlotte?
Yeah, sorry, a couple quick ones. Was just thinking about whether we want to get our various actions and events and topics into the next newsletter. So just putting that on our radar. It seems like with the endorsement, with the cap, with the declaration, there's a lot going on. So I can certainly take that offline, but just wanted to mention that. And then again, something maybe for a later date, but Michelle, I was curious to get a sort of readout from you of some of those cap forum comments, if there's a list of action items that you think we could be taking in the nearer term, things that were raised as part of the action plan, but actually are low-hanging fruit, mini projects, things that we might want to table for the committee to think about moving forward on, even in the interim. I know there's a lot going on, but it's always sort of inspiring, I think, to think about some of the tangible changes that we can make, whether it's this year, next year, whatever, but just would love to get your digest of some of those materials, maybe at a next meeting or even just over email. That would be great. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely sounds good. Thanks.
All right. I think that's it, unless there's anything else. Actually, I guess let's plan for our next meeting to be October 2nd, but let's keep an eye out. If we need to meet ahead of that, then I can call a short meeting if we want to go ahead and look at the article for the school to actually support that. But we can be in touch about that over email for scheduling. Is that acceptable? Okay. In that case, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. Keep beating you to this. Faster off the mark. I'll second it.
All right.
I didn't get a motion in all meeting. I had to get one in.
All right. All in favor of adjourning? Charlotte?
Yes.
Dawn?
Yes.
Margaret?
Yes.
Emily?
Yes.
John?
Yep.
Yes, please. Lovely to see you all.
Thanks. A lot of good progress.